Yeah. Testing. This is our first podcast about facial rejuvenation with our lovely patient who we will refer to as now 35. So share with us a few of your thoughts about what was your inspiration for considering a facelift, and then talk with us about how you feel you are perceived at work, and is that any different?
Okay, so I'm 53, and I noticed, obviously, as anybody does at 53, that your face has fallen down and things don't look the same. But the part that was most irritating to me was at work. I work in a technical field with customers, and I've noticed the response back. I've become invisible is the way I look at it. You've become invisible. People value your opinion, but you're kind of like the kindly grandmother that they ignore. And not that this is right. It's not conscious. People are not conscious of it.
You don't feel like people are actively treating you differently or consciously treating you differently, but you notice it, how they're interacting with you differently than your colleagues.
Absolutely. So things like I'm quite good at what I do, and it just I have you over time you lose impact in the sense that you get patted on the back for being such a great helper at a certain point instead of being a leader. And it's a point of, it's neither here nor there. You can't say, oh, it's my face that does this. It's just the age. It's especially if you're surrounded by much younger people. And the fun part was that after the facelift, of course, I've told no one per se at work. And as time has progressed now, I'm about 3 months out. And it's visibly, to me, myself, it is extraordinarily different visibly. It's like, oh, wow, my old face. But the fun part is that I see that the customers and professional and peers are responding to me in ways I haven't seen in 10 plus years. It's really, really noticeable. And again, it's not conscious. These are not malicious people. There's nothing wrong with it.
What are some examples?
A good example was I've had customers now, I've had the people, my peers that I work with are going, oh, that customer wants to hear it from you. They can only hear it from you. My gosh, they love you. I've been called something I haven't been called in years, which is they're like, good morning, sunshine. Again, that's a phrase I haven't heard in a long time because I was still sunshine. My face just didn't show it. It's a subconscious thing that people react to you differently as you age, and we could debate the rights and wrongs thereof, but it's completely subconscious. And it's interesting to me to see how different I have become, far more relevant just by virtue of having a facelift. It's a funny thing to think of. Nothing's changed in my mind. It's just the face. And
none of your coworkers know that you have undergone this procedure?
None of them do. One of my coworkers says, my goodness, you look like you've lost weight. And I said, oh, yes. Oh, yes, I've been on a diet. Does it show? And that's about the end of that. I personally can't see how they don't see it in a spot, but you know your own face well. But for others, no. I've had family members that can't tell. They just think you look refreshed, I guess.
Yeah.
So I recommend this to anybody, and I'll plan my next one for 10 years.
Well, that's what we say. We say that it turns the clock back 10 years. So you're now, in your case, I think it's probably 15 years.
Hooray.
One of the downsides of a podcast or an audio is that you can't see our lovely patient's gorgeous face, but she could easily be mistaken for a late 30-year-old. One of my experiences with one of my patients was a lawyer who was many years distinguished career, and she came and had her facelift, and then she came back and follow-up, and we were just talking, and she actually brought it up to me. She said, do you know why I got a facelift? And, I said, well, people have their different reasons. And she said, well, mine was clients used to come into her office and say to her, well, you've had such a great career and you're just so distinguished and so fabulous. When are you thinking of retiring?
Yeah.
And, she was shocked because she felt that she had at least 10 more years, and it didn't really matter how old she was. It's just that people were looking at her and saying, you look like you've had a great career. When are you hanging up you're, hanging up your saddle. And she came back. This was about 2 or 3 months after her surgery, because the patients have very fast recovery and are able to get back to work in a very short period of time, as she did and as you have. And she said the exact same people came into her office, and they didn't even realize that their conversation changed, and that now their conversation with her started out with, "Wow, you look so refreshed. Did you just come back from a vacation?" And so I loved how you phrased it, that this was a subconscious bias. And it's an age. Did you call it
It's called ageism.
Ageism.
It's a bias where they I think you got it right. They look at you like, and we've said this about other people, they're on their way out to retirement, and you somehow cease relevance at that point, because obviously your motivations are to ride until retirement, which is, there's nothing further from the truth. Now they talk about forward-facing things. And it's a huge difference. You can see like, oh, we're planning on doing this next whatever. Not that you weren't going to be there anyway. It's just the attitude has changed around you. And it's completely subconscious. I'm quite sure there's no knowledgeable bias in it. It is ageism. And you cease relevance. I go into meetings and they're like, oh, well, we really need to talk to the tech. And I'm like, I really am the tech. and they, oh, no, we need to talk to someone who's, more savvy, aka younger. And you're like, this is ridiculous. I have my experience and I'm the best person you got.
Yeah.
Good luck finding better than, sorry, that sounds really egotistical.
Now they're seeking you out.
Well, that's just it. And now they're looking for me. Oh no, we want to hear it from her. We must talk to her to make sure this is correct. It's very slight, but it's so obvious to me, and it's a nice change. It's well worth it.
Well, it's put a big smile on your face.
Yeah, it has. Sunshine again.
Sunshine again.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again so much for sharing your story with us, and I'm sure many of our patients and colleagues will love hearing your words of wisdom.
Thank you. I hope everyone comes to see you, Dr. Claytor. It was wonderful.
Oh, you're so kind. Take care.